Well, I'm back. What have I been up to? Let's see. There was the back surgery that kept me off my feet for months. I retired, now living my golden years on Social Security income. Yay. After the back surgery, I had to have some plumbing work done and had a TURP procedure done. Look it up, T-U-R-P. No fun. I lost over 50 pounds since my last video, so now that I'm healthy again, it's time to do some more videos. What do you say? I'll still do some hiking, walks and such, but I will also be helping my spiritual partner, Madam D, investigate historical sites for her Realm of the Unknown channel. In this video, I'm giving you a view of what we did last year. We started out by heading up to Michigan to visit one of Donna's oldest friends from high school, and she had a 50th high school reunion while we were up there. It was something special. Here's while we were there, we stayed with Francie and Maury, and we had fun out in their backyard with the sprinklers. Anyway, they had a nice heated swimmer's pool, and then they had a regular above ground pool, but that was cold, so we didn't get in that. Oh, the fireflies at night were just something else. I mean, they just came out big time. It was right party. Their yard, this is where we stayed, you know. And then we hit the road again on our way to Des Moines, Iowa, to visit our other friend, Jennifer. And on our way there, we stayed at a Harvest Host. And then we met up with Jennifer in Des Moines. She showed us around the town and some of the sculptures that they have in their park in downtown. That was kind of weird, to be honest with you. But hey, I guess artistes are artistes. You gotta accept them for who and what they are. We ended up going out and having some cheese curds. And then we hit the road again. Next stop was another Harvest Host. And on this Harvest Host, it was just a nice farm area up on a hill. Had a nice view of the pasture and whatnot. They had a nice sunset that day. That's one thing. A little close up of the sunset. Then we hit the road again. This time we're going to go to a brewery. We went down to a place in West Plains, Missouri. Wages Brewing Company. And they had a tap room there, so we sampled some of the brews and got something to eat. Meanwhile, it was a Harvest Host, so we had access to stay in their parking lot, and there we are. We got to plug in next to their sign. Then we hit the road again. This time we're headed to Henson Hill. That is a Boondockers welcome site. And here we are. This is where we stayed. It's a family-owned farm. They had soybeans, and I guess this was a storm shelter or a cellar or something. I have no idea what that is. Their barn looked like it could use a little work. They had a nice sunset there, so that's what we did. And we hit the road again for our last stop before heading home. This time it's another Harvest Host, but they were like an RV park. They had full hookups. And here we are parked at the end. They do horse training, teach people how to ride horses. And there's their training place. They had their young studs around, and others, friends of his. I guess that's his family. in their storefront. They had some meat in there. We got some stuff. There's our site again. We were able to just pull through. So we hit the road again. This time we're heading home. So we are done with our first trip, which was to Michigan, over to Des Moines, and back home. And here we are, back home. So that was the end of our first trip out to Michigan. Our next trip is down to Key West. We start out another harvest host, Oliver Farm Artesian Oils. They had some nice oils there, and got parked next to their little building there and plug in. They had some peppers growing right outside there. It was interesting. After Oliver Farms, we headed back on the road and headed to Donna's brother and sister-in-law, Larry and Lou. And this is their house. This is where we stayed. Parked in their parking lot, the driveway, and then we hit the road again. This time we're heading to Sebastian Inlet State Park. It's up on the east coast of Florida and around Melbourne Beach. And this is some of the roads that we had down in Florida. It was just something, getting back Florida, seeing the trees. This is where we stayed at Sebastian Inlet. This was our inlet. They had sea grapes right there at our site. Don't know what a sea grape is. It looks like grapes, but it's not. They do get edible though. So, and then we had a walkway over to the beach. Nice beach area. That was our first view of the Atlantic on this trip. And then we hit the road again after being at Sebastian Inlet, after they threw us out, after shutting the park down because of Hurricane Helene. But we headed south anyway. We're dodging Helene. Helene's heading out to the Gulf, and we're heading south to Key West. So here we are in Homestead, down in Miami area. We're staying at a Larry and Penny Thompson State Park. It's a city park. It was pretty nice. From there, we left to head for Key West. And you know what that means? You got to drive over the Keys, an overseas highway. And here we are, driving down US 1, Tavernier Park. It sure brought back memories. Good driving back down through the Keys. You know, being the cruising conch and all. You got to go visit the homestead, the Key West, every now and then. So here we are, driving on the overseas highway. So I'll just be quiet for a little bit and let you enjoy the scenery. I'll pipe in if I see something that you need to know about. But anybody that's been down to US 1 knows it's a long trip once you get off the mainland, trying to get all the way to Key West. Doing a lot of construction down there, just like they're doing everywhere. And that's what the Keys is like. You got marinas, you got boat ramps, you got water, you got mangrove trees, you got bridges. Now remember, We're heading down there right after Helene had gone through. And probably people would have said that we were stupid to be going down there during hurricane season, and we probably were, but we got lucky. Hurricane Helene headed out to the Gulf, and we headed down to Key West. And you can see some of the leftover storm debris, seaweed and whatnot that got blown up on the shores of the islands. A lot of cleanup. You can't go fast down US 1 driving on the Keys. There's just too much traffic, and the speed limit's generally about 45 to 50. You get up to 55 in some areas, but that's it. And so here we are going over a long bridge, separating one of the upper Keys. We're going to be staying at a private RV park down in Stock Island, which is the island right before Key West. It's actually where I grew up, was on Stock Island. Key West was just where I went to school and grew up. My stomping ground, so to speak. Is this a long bridge or what? And this is not the 7 Mile Bridge. This is just one of the bridges that takes you down to Key West. Sorry for the silence, people, but I'm just not much of a rambling type of talker, and the views kind of speak for themselves. It's one of those awe-inspiring drives that I think everyone should take at least once in their life. I believe I finally made it down to Marathon. The road widens back out 4 lanes, and of course you got to go back to 2 lanes before going over another bridge. But this is not just any bridge. This is a 7 Mile Bridge. This bridge takes you over 7 miles of water. I'm going to speed it up here a little bit. You don't need to go at regular speed. Gotta love the fast motion. Over on the right is the old 7 Mile Bridge, and they still keep it maintained all the way out to this island called Pigeon Key. At one point when I was growing up, University of Miami ran that island. They used it for marine research. It's more or less tourist trap now. They give you a history of what the island has done through the years. That gap there is where drawbridge used to be, a swing bridge it was. It wasn't even a drawbridge. Then you get a bunch of more water that you got to go over miles and miles. And now you even got trees going out of the old bridge. That's something. Get down to the end of the bridge, they maintain it for a fishing pier for those that want to go out there fishing. I imagine it's pretty good fishing out there. But that's it. We're now on the Southern Keys. We're in Southern Keys now. We're going by the Bay of Honda State Park. Over on the left, you see the old Bay of Honda Bridge. And the Bay of Honda State Park and bridge and whatnot is not too far away from Big Pine Key. Big Pine Key has got key deer. So you gotta be careful and you gotta slow down from time to time. Watch out for those key deer. They're a protected species, a lot smaller than the average deer. We're not done yet going over bridges. The Keys, we got a whole bunch of bridges to go over. Trying to speed this up a little bit. Still get to see the views going over those bridges. Yeah, we're coming up stomping grounds, I do believe. Oh, that's where I lived, over on the left, just past it. We're going to turn around here, head down to our RV park, El Mar RV Park. And because of Helene, everybody else evacuated. So when we got there, we had the place all to ourselves. Check out this view that we just pulled right into our parking area. There was a nice gentleman helping us, telling us when to stop. But check out that view. That's where we had for 4 days. And these are our welcoming committees. They had a bunch of iguanas there. Interesting animals that scurry over the top of the mangroves. Then we went fishing one day. We went out. And it was a nice boat ride. It was a nice sunny day. There were sharks hanging around, so not everybody got a whole fish. That was our little collection. Then we were done with El Mar. It's time to come home. So our first stop was back to that Larry and Penny State Park in South Miami. But first we gotta get out of the Keys. So here we are, heading back out of the Keys. See, after 4 days you can see that the water is bluer than when we first came in. because of the weather. But here we are back at Larry and Penny RV Park. First time we were there, they had a back-end site. So I asked them if we could get a pull-through this time, and this is what they gave us. A pull-through. Sweet. And that's where we were on our first trip back. And then we headed back on the road. This time we were going to go down the west coast of Florida coming back, but we decided to go down to central Florida. We stayed at a place called Skyfire Ranch. And this was our setup there. A nice sunset there. I guess that's why they call it Skyfire. These are some special plants that they grow there. Then we hit the road again. This time we're heading for Gamble Rogers Memorial State Park. Again, it's on the east coast of Florida, just south of Jacksonville. It's actually Flagler Beach. But you register on one side of 1A, and then you go across the road to the campsite. That's a little different way of doing it, but that's the way that they did it. And it's turned out to be a real nice site. As we back into the site, you see right there is the walkway to the beaches. So we had easy access to the beach. There's the view of it parked. We'll across the walkway to the beach. There's Donna. Of course, with all the storms around, the waves were pretty active. It's gotta love the ocean. All right, next day, it's back on the road. See, this is before Donna was retired. No, she was retired. She just retired. What am I saying? Anyway, we went by Jacksonville. We decided to go on the east side around Jacksonville. And then we got back on 95 north of Jacksonville. And we get off and stayed at Georgia Coastal RV Park. Of course, we had to stop and get gas. We got to feed Myra every now and then. But here we are at Georgia Coastal RV Park, just some private rinky-dink plugs. But hey, it was a place to stay for the night. We got set up. They had a pond behind where we were staying. All those trees, your Spanish moss coming down off the live oak trees. It was pretty. And it was back on the road again. Now this is the area. Pay attention here, folks. On this section of the trip coming back, you will see the damage that was done by Hurricane Helene. And it was I don't know what to say. I'm kind of speechless because of the damage. There's no way that I could show entirely the impact that this storm had in the area. These are just some of the obvious ones that are right here by the road. But there was some significant damage in the area. And so we headed south before this happened and coming back north after it happened. So we stayed at Worthing RV Park, our last stop before home. They had pretty nice setup there. There's a lot of permanent people, but enough spots for temporaries for people like us. And then here we are, heading back home. Home sweet home. And this is where we're going to end it. You know,